In today's episode, we're going to be talking about leveraging your problem-solving abilities so that you can find more money in your business that's probably been hiding in plain sight. So don't you change that dial or drop that phone. We're about to level it up and shatter the mold. Question. In a world where groupthink is the norm, others want what you've earned, and thinking for yourself will get a target painted on your back, how do you flip the script and level up your business, your money, relationships, your health, your status, and your life? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Andrew S. Kaplan, and it's time to shatter the mold. Welcome to another episode of Shatter the Mold. Andrew S. Kaplan, really happy to be here with you today. And we've got a fun episode, and I'll tell you, it's a little bit interesting because the day that we recorded this one, Zoom was having a major issue, and it forced me to change my usual setup. So anyone listening on audio, you'll notice a bit of a quality difference in terms of my voice. And anyone who's watching the video version will certainly tell a difference just in terms of the lighting and things like that. Neither are the most flattering, but the content was solid. So, of course, I was going to put out the episode anyway, and I'm really excited by what you're about to learn through my talk with Patty here. But before we dive in, just a quick update. Thank you so much to everyone who continues to show their support for the last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read. It continues to rack up positive reviews, 5-star rave reviews on Amazon and on Audible. We're probably close to 800 global ratings, at least on the US site for Amazon, and it just gets better and better. And I cannot begin to tell you how pleased I am and how grateful I am for such positive enthusiasm. And, while we're on that note, the YouTube channel that supports it, youtube.com/Andrew Cap, that's past 800 subscribers at this point, and it's only growing from there. Obviously, the goal is to surpass 1,000 before the year's end, and I have full confidence I'm going to get there. And if you haven't checked it out yet for yourself, I encourage you to go to youtube.com/Andrew Cap, check it out, see the kind of content I got going on there. And of course, you can go to lastlawofattractionbook.com if you still haven't seen the book itself. And I think you'll enjoy it, whether you get it in Kindle format or paperback or audiobook. Either way, I'm sure you're going to be plenty happy with it. But with that said, let's waste no more time here. We're going to switch mics. We're going to get talking with Patty, and you are in for a really fun interview here. Okay, today is going to be a fun one. Patty Lawrence helps result-oriented business owners out of their struggle with financial chaos, whether it's out-of-control growth, out-of-the-blue revenue or profit decline, or people problems that are having a negative impact on the business. Her superpower is in revealing the story behind the numbers through financial tools and systems that quickly skyrocket productivity and remove barriers to growth and profitability. And her clients typically end up increasing their bottom line by at least 15%, which is obviously no small thing. And she's a lot of fun to be around as well. So I'm sure she'll have a few fun stories and insights to share today. So without further ado, Shatter the Mold warmly welcomes Patty Lawrence. Patty, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Shatter the Mold.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It's just a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. And, this is going to be an interesting one in the sense that we're recording, and I'm going to see the recording later on. And today, Zoom goes down on me, at least on the desktop, and I email you and hey, there might be an issue. And I'm doing everything for the first time on my phone right now. So I've got, for people that see the video, it'll be a nice unflattering angle. I'll cross my arms to look tough. It'll be great. But what I'm bringing this story up is because I bring this to you and we hop on, and the first thing you have for me is a solution, or at least an answer. You're like, dude, it's probably because colleges are starting up today. And, the thing about it is I bring that up because I think you naturally do that with the financial aspect of things when you're helping businesses. It really is your superpower where your brain clicks on something. And it's not like, college starting is the biggest insight in the world, but I didn't have it and you did. So, thank you for at least clarifying. At least I'm going to be a little less stressed as I go throughout my day, knowing that I'm assuming Zoom is aware of this specific thing and they're trying to troubleshoot it. But also this is to explain to the audience if there's a weird angle or even weird audio on me for the first time. So that'll be fun too. But really, just to give you props, this is what you do. You here's the problem. And, for you, for at least for the finances, it sounds like here's how we fix it too. Is that a fair assessment of what you do?
Yes, I would think it is. So I've had more than a handful of people, like a lot of people, call me a problem solver. So really, it's bringing that problem solving ability in for clients. So because typically clients have maybe a bookkeeper or something like that on staff, and they're not really getting answers to their questions because that bookkeeper is just kind of looking around like deer in the headlights, like I can't answer your question. So what we look at is really bringing that problem solving capability to our clients and really taking it to that next level with them. So yeah, I'm kind of a problem solver. And I guess that goes back to what should I major in, either engineering or something in the financial and accounting world. And I chose financial and accounting, but you still have problem solving abilities in both of those areas, because I actually have two engineer sons. And that is applied problem solving for sure.
Yeah,
So
everything's just numbers, right?
absolutely. So you're just taking that kind of to the next level and using the calculus stuff instead of just the some of the other math equations.
Oh, you're using calculus. This is why I would hire you and not do it myself. I was not a huge fan of calculus. I'll never forget, I almost like browbeat one of my teachers during the Regents exams because I never thought he taught me right, and I was kind of right. I'm like, what's this answer? Tell me. He didn't give it to me, but it was a funny scene. But I think that actually speaks to a story right now. Like, if you're using calculus, that kind of probably explains why some people can't even see these things until it's
I'm
revealed for
using
them.
more, the good thing is I'm using more of the algebra, solve for X. My kids on the engineering side, they're using the calculus. So
got it.
Yeah, but you're still it's still applying those math concepts to problems, problem solving within your business. So it's just applied problem solving, right? Applied math, applied problem solving, and getting to the answers for what's going on in your business. So
Now,
yeah.
did you kind of help someone and it inspired you to take this path, or do you have like a certain background that it made you realize this is a good way to help people? Like, what inspired you to go down this path and help people in what really is a very specific niche that most people don't know to look for?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So, growing up when I was in high school and taking that first accounting class, my parents were, and especially my dad, they're entrepreneurs. So my dad had his own water well drilling business. So he was the first service guy that I actually helped with my skills and ability, my newfound skills and ability in accounting and applied problem solving. So I worked in his office. I actually worked out with him physically, when he needed some help or, muscle. I'd get out there and help him. But mostly I was doing work in his office, cleaning up the files, straightening up things, making sure there was a process and some workflows and some follow-up, and asking a lot of questions like, hey, this looks like you haven't gotten a check for this yet. Did you get paid for this? So, the follow-up and making making some kind of workflow and process out of the chaos that was the desk in the office of his business.
It sounds to me like, and let me know if I'm kind of putting the wrong words in your mouth, but it's almost like there's an element of administrative, but also operations that's coming into play here.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. So starting out in that area was, total operations, right? You're kind of a one-man, let's call it a one-man show, right? You got maybe a couple of employees, but that's the start of where the operations side of it and my connection to that kind of all started, because that interested me. That interested me to see some results, see something tangible come out of that. So from just not only the actual work that was being done, but also from the operations standpoint, that little desk was the hub of everything going on in that business, not unlike what's going on with every other business in this country, right? There's desks, well, and some of them now desktops, right? They're more virtual than they used to be back then, but and for smaller businesses, sometimes they aren't as virtual. But that is the hub of operations for the entire company. So the small beginnings, then they morph out into, larger and larger, and then you build a team that has to have some kind of continuity to it, some kind of flow, some kind of, touch points where things are moving in some kind of fashion that accomplishes things all along the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So A before B before C before D, and it gets to across the finish line, and it not only gets across the finish line, but it has accomplished things all along the way for the entire organization. So bills got paid, the company got paid, people got paid. It all kind of has a flow to it. And let's face it, it's all about the cash.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up, because obviously we're establishing for listeners right now, like, who you are and what you do. And we're going into the philosophy and the theory. But what this is really about, because I'm not sure if I articulated it well enough, is you're finding money where people don't normally see it. It's always been there, but if it's not being utilized or not being discovered, or it's of no use to them, you're helping them find that. And obviously we need to maintain a certain level of confidentiality for the people that you work with. But I wonder if you have a story, you could change a few names and dates and all that fun stuff, that might explain how this actually works in practice. Like how someone was sitting on a lot of money and they didn't even realize they had it, because maybe people listening might have the same issue and they might be able to discover money on their end as well.
That's a great thing to actually talk about, because not everybody wants to talk about that kind of thing, or not everybody knows that they've got money hidden in their business. So I've also been referred to as the money finder, because I do help clients in that regard. And just to your point, is a simple story. I had a referral come to me, and they were hemorrhaging cash. So the owner said, I'm hemorrhaging cash. I don't know what to do. I don't know where it is. I'm trying to run my business, but, I'm having trouble with making payroll, paying the bills, you name it, anything that's, where cash is going out the door. And I came in, we had a couple of conversations. I looked at their books, their financial reports over the course of maybe 3 years, and kind of put the story together, and looked at it and could see a point at which cash reserves really started going down, profitability started going down in one specific area, and I pinpointed what that area was, and went back and asked him a question about it. And he said, oh yeah, we made an acquisition of a smaller business, and we were trying to get it up and about, but this guy can't really sell. So he's got some skills, but that we need inside the business, but he's not selling anything. So I'm like, well, you just added a whole lot of overhead to your business, and the guy isn't selling, he's not productive. Are you holding his feet to the fire? Or what are you going to do? So what's your timeline on this? How much money do you want to continue to invest or lose in this endeavor before you're going to decide you're going to pull the plug? Right? So that was the real question. And we decided, I kind of decided to give him 6 months. I said, all right, we'll check back, because he was not ready to do that yet. He did not have that in his head yet, that was an option.
Yeah, he wasn't in enough pain, really.
He was in some pain, but
not enough to make that
but
call.
Not enough to overcome the ego side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So we got to overcome the ego side of it. So 6 months went by. We were checking in along the way, but at the end of 6 months, it still had not improved. And I said, all right, here we are. We're 6 months in, and it hasn't improved. Ready to pull the plug? And by that time, since we were checking in every month, he had 6 opportunities to hear me Talk to him about, it's not improving. Think about it. It's not improving. Think about your options. It's not it's not improving. Think about pulling the plug. So we're kind of getting to that point, but I'm not making his decision for him, but I'm educating him as to why it's not improving.
Mm-hmm.
And can you get over that hurdle? And if you can't improve it, if you can't make changes to improve that, you're going to either be throwing more money away, or you're going to need to make that decision, because by not making a decision, you've really made a decision, right?
Right.
Let's
Yeah,
face
exactly.
it, right?
You're
You're
always
kind of
making a
trying to
decision.
ignore it.
Inaction is still a choice.
Yes, exactly. So you kind of are trying to keep it at bay, right? Ooh, trying to get, push away, get the strong arm out. But you're really not doing anything to improve your position. Improve your financial position, improve your operating position. None of that is going to matter. Right. So at the end of 6 months, he finally decided that, yeah, that was not the right decision. We need to get rid of this person, and not get rid of this person the wrong way. They're not on the street destitute or anything, but but that person needed to go away from the company because it was just costing too much money. So they did that. Within 2 months, their cash was on the upswing, which was like, yay. And we were starting to have a plan to pay down all of those accumulated vendor bills. Old vendor bills and debts and things like that. So what we had done is not only take that decision to remove that individual because that was draining cash, but we also looked at the business, and I said, when was the last time you took a price increase? When was the last time you gave your people raises? Well, your people got raises last year. The last time you took a price increase was 5 years ago. Guess what that's going to do? That's going to shrink your gross profit, and you're not going to have enough money to be able to pay for that. You're actually decreasing your bottom line over time, and not keeping enough money in the business to do the things that you want to do, like expand, right? This guy wanted to expand. He made that acquisition, but yet he was in a declining position. So let's shore that up. Let's look at your overheads. Let's look at your gross profit. Let's look at your pricing. Let's look at all of those things and see, that's the operation side of it, because all of those areas have an impact on financial performance of the business and the amount of cash you can keep inside the business to propel and to support future growth.
So, it's very interesting hearing you tell that story and give your takeaways from it, because I think it's important for people to understand a lot of the times, not this is the only way, but a lot of times when we say that there's money hiding there, it's hiding in the sense that it's very easy, especially when you are an entrepreneur, especially when you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders, you've got a million things coming at you. It's hard to even focus and take a 30,000 foot view. It's very important to understand that while you're in the middle of things and while everything's coming at you at once and all you're doing is like knocking away all the shots coming, there are these key little decisions that technically in hindsight, in retrospect, they sound so brilliant and so common sense, but people often don't think to take it because they are so close in to the business and they're just trying to do the things that they understand, and they don't, again, such a simple thing of, well, listen, if you're giving all these raises, you've got to raise your prices, or you've got to have another way of bringing money in. If you're putting more money out, you got to bring more money in. And people don't, for some reason, it's just human nature. People don't often think that way. And I think part of it, it's kind of a credit to people in the sense that everyone inherently, whether they succeed or not, everyone inherently wants to be a good person. Meaning you feel like a bad person when you raise your prices in certain types of situations, or you feel like you're not a bad person, but people will think you're a bad person. And it's these types of things that I think a lot of times people choose to ignore, whether they realize it or not. This is what's costing them money in their business. This is what's preventing them from expanding and preventing them from also having a level of comfort that if they had it, would allow them to better strategize on their own and come up with brilliant insights that they never would have had otherwise.
And a perfect way to describe that, I have a friend of mine who uses this analogy, and she used to work at the Coca-Cola company, and it really rings true if you're thinking about it, but you can't read the label from inside the bottle. And all of us as entrepreneurs can totally relate to that. So that's why it's so important to get help out, that's outside your company. So if you get advisory help, it's great to have somebody that's from outside your company, because they can read the label for you, right? They can see inside your company. They can see from 30,000 feet, but they can also see all of the nitty gritty detail, right? They can see that, especially people that have, let's call it some training, right? They have some training and they have some expertise and they know where to look, right? If you know where to look, you can find that money, right? Because we have a map. We have a map that's kind of not printed, but we know where the money's hiding and where it can hide. It can hide in inefficiency. It can hide in labor cost, right? Are you employing somebody in your business that's a family member that, okay, maybe is not pulling their weight as much as they need to, right? In your company, that you would have different expectations for them than, say, somebody you've hired off of Indeed or, brought in from the outside. That happens all the time. So there's some inefficient just labor costs. And let's think about subscriptions, right? Subscriptions, either software subscriptions, it could be any kind of subscription or a membership, right? When's the last time you looked at what you were paying every month, right? It's just because it's an auto debit or it's an auto charge on your credit card, and it's just there, and it kind of floats under the radar. But you know what? There's a leaky bucket right there. There's some money that can be, taken back into the business and put it right back to the bottom line. Same thing with, little things. Like I described in the story, is a price increase. Like when was the last time you had a price increase, right? Technology's changing. You're probably paying more for a subscription or something that's supporting your business and making it work and making it run, but yet are you able to translate that into something more valuable from the customer's perspective, from the customer experience or the delivery of your services? Taking all of those things into account is part of taking the operations side of it and the financial side of it, marrying them together because they belong together. One totally impacts the other and has good and bad implications. They can go both ways, but you can leverage the good and do away with the bad to improve your financial performance.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I'm sure people hear the price increase, and some people, no matter what you tell them, they're not going to want to do it. They might have good reasons too, but the answer to them is, listen, even if this is a good idea, if you're not going to do it, well, then that means you need more customers. There needs to have some kind of shift that accounts for the money that's going out for the money to go in. So maybe, you introduce a new product, or maybe you bring on a top level salesperson, or maybe you go into a market affordably that isn't going to put you out really, or thin you out too much. You find some way of accounting for it. So if you don't want to do the price increase, or you want to take an extra 5 years until you finally realize you should have done it, you've got to find another way in the meantime that's going to counterbalance the money that you increasingly put out.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because the best way to do what you just described is to have somebody on your side that can put numbers into a spreadsheet and run a model. So let's model that before we actually pull the trigger, right? Let's do ready, aim, fire, right? Let's do some planning along the way before we pull that trigger, and not the ready, fire, aim, where we get this in our head and we just do it. Oh, were we supposed to look at something? Were we supposed to analyze something? Even back of the napkin, right? Just let's run some numbers and make sure that that's going to have the desired intent and the desired result that you intend before you even pull the trigger on it, before you even invest $1 in it. Let's look at that. Let's see if that's going, is it going to be that it's not going to give you a positive financial return for 6 months? Don't know.
Yeah.
Is it going to return in 2 months? I don't know. But you know what? It'd be nice to know that, wouldn't it? I mean, I always like to know that. I'm a planner, though. I
Yeah.
gotta admit,
Well,
I am a total planner. So I want to know kind of where I'm going before, I like to look at the map before I get in the car.
yeah. Well, the majority of truly successful companies or entrepreneurs, they do modeling, they run numbers, they do those things. And I don't. And I thought about this because I recognize that it's a bad thing that I'm not doing it the way I should, not nearly to the level. And I thought to myself, actually in preparation for this conversation, Andrew, that modeling, that running the numbers, understanding this is important. Why are you so resistant to it? Why haven't you done it? And I had to think deep and look at myself. And, you've got to look at your ego. You got to look at your fears. You got to look at your insecurities. And I think I figured it out. I think the reason I don't like models is because I didn't think of it myself. So I'm not sure if deductively or inductively is the right word. I'm not sure the approach, but because I don't understand it on that level, there's a level of intimidation and doubt and uncertainty and insecurity about it, even though intellectually, I know that that's unreasonable. I realize this is an unreasonable response. So I was kind of grateful for this epiphany of so to speak, of like, wow, this is why I don't model the way I should, because if I'm not the one who ran the numbers, and this is a stupid conclusion, if I'm not the one who ran the numbers, I don't want to trust it. But the truth is, it's really important to look at the numbers because, worst case, look at something on a small level and even backwards engineer and see that the numbers were right. If you can see the numbers were right in the past, it's way easier to conclude that they're going to be right in the future also. You can at least give yourself that experiential lesson of, listen, don't just push this modeling thing aside. So again, I was literally thinking about that over the weekend because I knew that we were going to be having this conversation.
Right. I think, I think you are not in the minority. I think there are more people. You're not the only one that thinks that way, honestly, because I think some people have a little bit, the fear and trepidation, but I think also some of it is I'll call it the ego getting involved here, right? Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of ego where the not invented here creeps in, right? If I didn't invent it, then I just can't get on board with it. And I think there are some people who are in that particular bucket, or in that thought pattern that, if they could just let that go, right? Let it go, because that's why we get people like me, or people like advisory people that come with us, that help us in that journey, right? Because we can't be the experts at everything in our business. I know I can tell you this, I am not the expert in my business for marketing. We don't have anybody. I outsource that. I have a wonderful person, with her team that does my marketing. I can't be bothered with that. I need to focus on what's best for my clients and what's best for growing my company. And I know that is not one of my strengths. So I get help in that area. And I want to, I want other people to kind of recognize that you can too. You
Right.
can too.
Now, I know a lot of people, they want to dip their toe in the pool on this kind of stuff. With that in mind, because I'm sure you've seen it all, what are some easy action steps people can take right now? What are some, high probability issue areas of their business that they could look in to maybe see if they can discover a way that there's money that's been hiding there for them that they could actually take advantage of?
Sure. First of all, I think it's get over your fear of the numbers. And by the numbers, I mean the financial numbers. I don't mean like, okay, top line. Okay, there's so many people that are focused. Business owners are very focused on the top line. And that's great. That's a great place to start, but don't stop there. Do not stop there. Get some reports, whether it's out of Zero, whether it's out of QuickBooks, whatever you're using, and hopefully it's not a Google Sheet, okay? Make sure you're on some kind of an accounting platform for your numbers, because your tax professional will likely thank you for it too. But familiarize yourself with some of those reports, the profit and loss report, the balance sheet report. The profit and loss is, what you're selling and what it costs you to deliver that product or service, and then what your overheads are, and then what you get what is left over is what you get to keep, right?
Mm-hmm.
Balance sheet is what you owe liabilities, or what you own, assets and equity. So that sheet tells you, especially cash. What is your cash position? What is your cash position over time? And how are you managing that? So I'd say the first step is really take a deep breath, and then look at your, kind of run some of those reports, or have your bookkeeper run some of those reports for you, and start familiarizing yourself with how those numbers look over time. And then the next step is ask questions, right? So ask questions of your bookkeeper, of anybody within your organization who is familiar with the numbers, or get outside help. You can go to a CPA, but CPAs typically don't know operations. They're really good at performing what I call compliance work, so audit and tax. If you have to have audit, I'm sorry for you, but your book's audited for bank purposes or whatever. But certainly they are doing your tax return on an annual basis. So that's perfect. But I would say get somebody, make sure you're looking for somebody. If you're going to go up to the outside and get some help, bring in some outside help, get somebody who has an operational background. So you're looking for somebody who's been in industry or has done this kind of work over time. You don't just want somebody who's doing tax returns or compliance work, because they're not really familiar with being what I'll call the right hand of the CEO, the right hand of the owner. Really, that's what we function as. That's what internal financial management, professional financial management functions internally in companies. We're the right-hand person. So if a lot of times it happens, if the business owner is away, next in line, it's your financial person, more than likely.
Is there, and I don't know if this is a fair question or if it's too generalized, but is there a certain number that people should in general look to, whether it's a percentage of profit margin or something that tells them, where there's that breaking point of being in a good place or being in trouble?
Yeah, this is what I call knowing your numbers. So there's good and bad numbers, and each business is slightly different. It depends if you're actually in a service company, service business, if you're selling, if most of your cost of delivering for your services is labor, it's labor intensive, or if it's outsourced, maybe you've got some outsourced people that are providing some support functions. Or you have an actual tangible good, okay? You have a tangible product to sell. It's going to vary. So I would say if you're in a service company, your gross profit should be in the 50% range. So gross profit is cost to deliver whatever you're selling, okay? So whether it's hosting or consulting or a service business, service company, it's in right around that 50% range. And then you have overheads below that. And typically you can be in I'll call it the 10 to 20% net income, bottom line, 10 to 20%. 10 is good. You're going to pay your taxes with that. Hopefully your salary's already in those numbers, rather than distribution. If it's a distribution situation, you should probably be on the more up around the 20% range.
And someone's like 100% digital, like they've got no inventory. They don't have to put anything, like it's just, I imagine delivery of the product. It's, their advertising costs.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
What is like a good number for them to look at?
Yeah, you can be, if you have very little cost to deliver, and not a whole lot of overhead, your gross profit can be up into the 70 to 80% range. And then your overheads, if you have, if you have referral fees or affiliate costs or anything like that, obviously that'll be in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, your bottom line can be, north of that 20%. I would hope it would be.
Cool.
Especially if you're paying yourself through distributions and you're not a W-2 employee of your own company.
Got it.
And then let's see if you have, okay, the other example is if you have an actual tangible product to sell. So if you have a product to sell, a lot of times you can be in that, I'll call it that 40-ish percent gross profit range, 40 and up. Just because there's that extra cost, and it depends how big the item is on a cost per item basis. But if it's a small item, you still obviously want to keep that down as much as you can, because you're going to have probably advertising, affiliate payments, affiliate costs, and things like that. That marketing budget's going to be a little bit more, a little bit higher than just a straight on, here's how I'm doing it. But like you were saying, is if you have that digital, do you have a funnel? Do you have the whole cost of that, that funnel, as well as your entire marketing program? So the funnel on down, and developing the digital side of it, Facebook ads, are you doing any of that as well? So I'd say minimum to pay your, because everybody's got to pay taxes, right? So minimum to get to afford your taxes, 10%. And I also have a tool for small businesses that is like, okay, so if I want to make, a $200,000-$300,000 salary, how much do I have to sell in sales given these other costs of my business? I have a tool that helps them kind of answer that question as well.
Right. And is that for anybody to check out?
Yes, it would be a freebie.
Sweet.
And
what link can they go to for it?
Well, that would be, I think that's on our tools section of our website of turboexecs.com.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have to make sure, I have to make sure that's there. I think it is.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what, after we hop off this call, you can take it off and you can email me the link. And what I'll do is I'll put it on the page of this interview. So if for some reason people go to that website and they can't find it, they'll still go to shatterthemoldpodcast.com, scroll down and find the link, and they'll go direct there. So either way, people have the opportunity to test out the tool, and hopefully it'll give them a good 30,000-foot view of certain important aspects of their entrepreneurial journey or their business or whatever thing's going on with it.
Yeah, and I know that's a question that comes up a lot for people. It's like, okay, well, how much can I, quote, pay myself or take out of the business for me, given, or they just want to know. It's like, okay, I want X number. I want $300,000. How much do I have to have in sales to get that? Well, that will help, but you have to have a couple of other things to plug in, because there's a few different variables in that. But your business best, and you can be able to plug that in. And cool. I'm gonna solve for a 10% bottom line though, because I'm gonna protect your bottom line.
Nice.
and your ability to pay your taxes.
And what's that? The main website they'll be going to find it again?
Oh yeah, it's turboexecs.com. So like turbo and then like executives, only shortened.
Cool.
Execs.com.
Love it. So last question for you, just because it'll hopefully glean a little insight for people, even though you've been so wonderful and gave so much insight already, like based on your experience. And I know you see so many different people across the board, different industries, different skill sets, different approaches, different mindsets. What is the number one scolding that you have to give people across the board that everyone listening might want to be to look out for in case they're also a guilty offender?
Yeah, the one thing that I have to get on my soapbox about is, and I mentioned it a little bit just briefly earlier, is don't use your CPA to be your CFO. That is the worst decision you can make, and here's why. Because they are compliance people. They're historical providers. So they're looking back, they're looking way back, right? You're looking forward as a business owner, right? You want to look at what's next for your business. What's the next best decision for your business or your company or your people, your employees or yourself, your community, whoever you serve. You need to be looking forward. So you need somebody who's going to help you look forward, help you craft your path forward. That's not your CPA. Your CPA could actually be holding you back. So that's why I have the that's why I have the website, and I have a freebie on that too. This is another freebie for your listeners. It's awesome. It's located at the website CFO.notCPA.com. All those letters.
I like that.
There's a free there.
CFO.notCPA.com.
Yes. CFO.notCPA.com. And that you can, all your wonderful listeners can grab a free download there.
Sweet. All right. And I'll put that link up on the section here also. Patty, this has been really educational, put it that way, because there's everyone likes to think that they're smart. Everyone likes to think that they're a good entrepreneur. But we could all learn a lot more. And, selfishly, I'm glad I have you on because it's wonderful content for my listeners and it's really helping them too. But selfishly, I had the chance just to pick your brain right here. So I really appreciate you taking the time out and helping me even kind of look at a few things a little bit differently that'll hopefully put some extra money in my pocket. Well,
and I want people to understand, don't be intimidated. Don't be intimidated by your numbers. There's not, honestly, there's no ghosts in there. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just dive right in, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It's your baby. It's your business. You want it to be the strongest it can be. So just ask some questions.
Love it. Thank you so much, Patty.
Thank you. I had a great time.
Thank you again, Patty, for such awesome insights. Guys, I'm going to leave the links that Patty had mentioned in either the YouTube video description of this, if you're watching it there, or just on the main page at shatterthemoldpodcast.com. You'll just see them waiting for you there. You'll want to check them both out because I know Patty, she knows her stuff, and I'm sure both of these links are really going to be helpful for you. Speaking of links, don't forget you can go to lastlawofattractionbook.com if you want to check out my book on Amazon or Audible. And of course, you can go to youtube.com/Andrew Cap if you want to see the growing YouTube channel that I have in support of it. I throw a lot of humor in on that one, and I try to keep it interesting and try to mix it up a lot, and I think you'll be happy with it. But past that, that's all I got for you today. I do want to remind you, if you haven't done so already, pull out that phone, hit that subscribe button. While you're at it, leave a quick, honest written review on today's content and all the other content that we've had leading up to it. And of course, stay tuned. I've got a lot more awesome content for you on the way this week. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to Shatter the Mold at www.shatterthemoldpodcast.com. My name is Andrew S. Kaplan. My name is Andrew S. Kaplan, and it's time to shatter the mold.